It's Belinda Woodiel-Brills, and I'm the Director of Planning and Public Information for Knoxville Area Transit. So, CAT is Knoxville Area Transit. We are the City of Knoxville's transit system, and we are really the only fixed route transit system in this sort of metro area, which is pretty unusual. We operate specifically within the city of Knoxville. We have, you can probably tell me how many routes we have because I can't add them all up in my head. 20 some odd?
22, I think.
22, that sounds right. And we have trolleys. We have the trolley system, the regular fixed route system, and then we have the paratransit lift system, on-demand lift system. So we carry around, I can't remember our latest numbers, but around 2.5 million probably passengers a year, something like that, 2 million to 2.5 passenger trips a year, and just kind of try to cover the city of Knoxville. That's an excellent question. So we are transitioning to more modern fare payment options, which has been a long time coming. We know a lot of people don't carry cash anymore, and it just makes everything a lot more complicated the way that our sort of antiquated fare system works. So I am happy to say we are improving our fare structure, and we're doing it in sort of two phases. So the first phase is what we call mobile ticketing. So if you have your transit app, if you've downloaded the transit app, which is CAT's official app, pretty soon there will be an option on the transit app to pay your fare. And so we're going to do kind of a little quiet launch. So folks who already have downloaded the transit app will be able to see that option come up at the bottom of their screen. And then you'll actually be able to purchase a pass on the app. So a one ride, a 1 day, or 30 day, something like that. And then it'll be in your app, so then you'll be able to activate that pass. And if you've been on the buses lately, you might see we had these new scanners that are mysterious and not being used right now. That's what those are going to be for. So when you activate that pass using the app, you just hold that down to the scanner, it'll record you, and you just move on. So that's step one, which is very exciting for us. We're ready for that. We hope that it'll be official in October, so we're working toward that. But soft launch coming soon. Well, sorry, November. We hope that'll be official early November, but we're soft launching really soon. And then phase two of that is what you were talking about, which is the sort of tap card that you have an account base with it and you can add value as you go along. And the beauty of those, there's many beautiful things to that, but is that we have, and you're probably familiar with this term, fare capping is going to be associated with that. So for folks who might not be able to afford a full-on monthly pass, you can ride for a day pass every day, and then as that builds up, once you reach that cost of the monthly pass, you get to ride free for the remainder of those 30 days. So very exciting. We're very excited about that. So we don't have a hard date on that, but it is, once we get mobile ticketing secure and all makes sense, then we dive right into our phase 2. So I'm hoping next year that we'll be able to also start the transition to that type of fare media. We're adding operators, we're hiring almost every day. We're getting folks into that training regiment and trying to bring new operators on board. But I know that last I checked, we had around 150, 160, and our goal is to get pretty much to 200, which is sort of our pre-COVID levels. So we're trying to build back up to that in order to fulfill what we hope to fulfill with the CAT Reimagine process. So we are actually discussing the idea of how can we make it work for students to be able to use their vol card. And some of it's, technology based. Should we use your vol card system? Should we somehow try to integrate the system that we have in a way, what's the best and most efficient and least costly option to sort of merge technologies, to make that work? Because if we certainly, I'm a data nerd, so I want to know, if we have a bunch of new students riding, what route are they riding? What time of day are they riding? When are they getting on and off? And where? And so we can sort of help us in our route planning. And so we want to be sure that however we put this together, it works from a data perspective, from a usage perspective. Does it make sense for the students? And so we're definitely really starting to ask those questions. So progress is being made on that. And we will see, how long it takes us to work through a lot of these questions. But I am very excited that these discussions are happening, because it just, for us, as much service that we have going by campus on Cumberland, as much as service as we're going to have with CAT Reimagine, which is going to be even more service going by campus. It just provides so many opportunities for students, and we want to be able to be sure they're aware and make it as easy as possible for students to ride. The downtown connector is going to be one single route that is fairly high frequency. We're aiming for having it operate about every 12 minutes. And it's going to operate, though, primarily within the downtown, cover a lot of the area that the trolley covered, and really some of those major sort of boarding and alighting locations. The biggest one is the Civic Coliseum Garage, connecting people with downtown. So that's the main purpose of that. We don't have it also going over to the university because it duplicates 8 buses an hour that are already going from downtown over to the university. So, we talked to the university about, okay, if we get students really frequently from downtown and back to campus, what's the option? And of course, the East-West bus, which runs every 5 minutes, is a great connector there on Cumberland. And so we all agreed that that's a great, incredibly convenient connection for the rest of campus. So what we decided with the trolleys and as part of this process is we looked at everywhere our money and resources were going, and we were like, wow, there's a lot of overlap of resources of where buses are going and where trolleys are going. What if we got rid of the duplication? Then we could make 15-minute and more frequent service go further. And that was the ultimate decision. So you don't have as much little downtown circulation connection, but you have a lot better 15-minute service further out. And so that was sort of where that decision point came in. I mean, I think it's a possibility. That is an unusual type of service for us because it is actually the operating costs are covered by the apartment complex.
Okay.
And so that would mean the apartment complex has to pay more, for the service. And so, if that's something that the students really need, they probably ought to start with the apartment management if that's important to them, and then we can talk to the apartment management about what that might look like to have later service. Well, airport service seems like a no-brainer. It seems obvious that there should be transit service to the airport. And as a transportation planner, you start digging a little deeper and you start asking some questions. And some of those questions are the people coming to the airport and leaving the airport. Where are they going? There's a regional airport. So some of them are going to Sevierville. Some of them are going to Maryville and Alcoa. Some of them are going to Oak Ridge. Some of them are going to Farragut. And some of them are coming downtown. So when you take out all the other chunks, you've suddenly narrowed down how many people might potentially use the service. And then the next question is, well, when are they getting there? Well, McGee Tyson has flights from 7 in the morning until I've gotten in as late as midnight or 12:30. So we're going to have a bus that serves those few people that operates an extensive period of time. Now you've just come in from your flight from London and you've transferred 2 times and it's 10:30 at night and you've been up for 24 hours. That bus is going to have to run really frequently for you to say, I will wait on this bus versus I will take an Uber or a taxi. So if we have a bus to the airport that runs from 6 in the morning until 12:30 in the next morning, every 10 or 15 minutes, that's most of our budget. Most of our budget for how many people who would use the service. Our consultants tell us that airport shuttles and airport transit services in other cities like ours are predominantly used by airport employees only. So that's not to say airport service is impossible, but it's to say there are many pieces to the airport puzzle that make it very expensive to operate. And the distance I didn't even mention. A bus going that distance takes a while. So you've got to put a lot of buses on the route to have a frequency of a bus that travels a long way. And it's cha-ching, 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 cha-ching. So, the goal with CAT Reimagine was really to sort of, in some ways, slightly shrink our service to have good service in a smaller area. And so if we want to expand further into other counties or even, just airport shuttles or specific shuttles, different places, it's going to take more funding than we have now. And we already have our wish list of other 15-minute service we'd like to provide, like on 20 or on 22 and the ABC project. And so we already have our own dreams of really making the service that we have even better. And so it's balancing that with expanding further and further with the kind of budget that we have. So there's your 10 million mile long answer about airport service. Yeah, it's not out of the question. We have operated those in the past, and My experience with those is they are directly proportional to the cost of fuel. Their success is directly proportional to the cost of fuel. So if people are used to paying whatever gas prices are current, they don't necessarily think about transit as an option. If there is a spike in the price of fuel, that is when those questions start getting asked and people consider a change. I think the challenge for us is when you operate a Farragut service, for example, or even something south traveling along Chapman, you're a bus that's in traffic with everybody else. And so as much sense as it makes to me to remind people that if you're on a bus, you could actually already be starting your workday. You could be through your emails by the time you even get to the office. It doesn't seem to resonate. People really, that security of having their car nearby is worth it to them a lot of times. So, I think there's a lot of factors that we have to consider to make transit appealing as a commuter service. Whether that's getting our own bus lanes, whether that's vehicles that might allow you to put your Starbucks in a little cup holder and your tray table up and work on your laptop. So I think there's kind of different pieces to the puzzle. Funding is one, but also just some of the infrastructure that might allow that competition with driving your own car. And we also have the issue that COVID raised of a lot of people teleworking. So I don't know where everybody's going that's in the traffic right now on the interstate. They don't seem to be teleworking, but that's also an issue that we come across too. So there's a lot of factors related to it. We encourage everybody to try transit if you've never have. Knoxville has a great transit system. And you can find more information by going to catbus.com, or you can download the transit app. So if you go to your Android or iPhone store, Play Store, and just download transit. It's just called Transit. It's a little green icon, and just download it and you will be able to track your bus in real time. You'll soon be able to pay your fare. You can plan your trip. So there's lots of great features on that, and it's a good way to get started with taking transit in Knoxville. Accelerated bus corridor. So it's going to be fabulous. We are going to have, the plan is to have all electric vehicles operating along Broadway, and they are going to have kind of more accentuated, nicer bus stop locations, although some fewer locations, so that the bus can keep moving. And it's also going to be tied into our stoplight system so that the bus will be able to move through stoplights if they are nearby. The stoplight will remain green until the bus gets through, and then we're hoping that's going to increase our efficiency on the Broadway corridor by about 15 to 20%. So that means that the buses will be a little more competitive with the car. It's going to be electric. It's going to be a comfortable waiting experience. And so we're excited about the idea, we're excited about the concept, and we are chipping away at making that happen. So we're doing some design work now, and we're identifying exactly where those locations would be. And then, we have a lot of pieces and parts with the actual technology, which is far beyond my understanding, but there's a lot of pieces that all have to talk to each other, from what's on our buses to what's at the traffic signal, and all of those details have to be worked out as well. So, so we are chipping away at it.